Until now, we discussed only if a single input is given to the neural network, then we know how to represent it. But what if the training samples are more than one? If we are giving m training samples, how to represent that? So we can represent either by using the for loop or by using the vectorization. But as we discussed already, the vectorization can be expressed in small steps. If we use the for loop, then that will take much number of steps in the programming. Okay, one thing is sure. First, we have to start with Z1. By taking the input features X, we have to calculate the Z1, and from that Z1 A1, from that A1 Z2, from that Z2 A2. We have to repeat this. How many times we have to repeat? For m number of times we have to repeat it. Okay, so if I am giving the first training sample X1, then the output is Y cap 1. This is we are representing the predicted output of the first training sample. Similarly, mth training sample output can be represented as Y cap m. This is the predicted output of the mth training sample. There is another notation you observe here, A21, A21, A2m. This is telling A2 means the last layer here, the second layer. 1 means the first training sample output, second training sample, mth training sample. So this 2 is denoting the layer, this I is denoting the training example. Now if we give the m training examples, whatever the steps we have done for a single training example, we have to repeat it. So that can be possible by using the for loop. We are using for I is equal to 1 to m. Then we can repeat this step m times. This is how when we do not use the vectorization, this is how we proceed. But when we vectorize, when we do not want to use the for loop, then all training samples can be expressed in a single X. Now the X is consisting all training samples features. The first row is the first training sample features, second row consisting second training sample features, mth row is consisting mth training sample features. So now I can express this as an n by m matrix. This n by m matrix is consisting the features of all m training samples. Now I am multiplying this capital X, which is consisting the features of all training samples, with W1, the parameter matrix. This W1 parameter matrix size depends on, as we already discussed, number of activation units in the first layer and the number of features in the input. If the number of features are 3 and number of activation units in the first layer are 4, then the W is 4 by 3. So we are multiplying this W into X, and with B, this gives the Z1. Remember, what is the difference between, already we have learned previously, at that time we have not used this capital X. Now we are vectorizing. This capital X is consisting of all features of all training samples. Now we are performing the sigmoid function on all. What is the now Z1? We have we already got the Z1. What is this Z1? This Z1, if we see the matrix wise representation, then you can understand very easily. The matrix size of X is some n by m. The W1, it depends on the number of rows or number of activation units, and here the number of features. So the matrix multiplication of W and X results R by M. So we are taking the B, as you already know, in the Python, whenever we are using the NumPy, if you add a single constant to matrix, all the values can, all the elements in the matrix are added to this B. That we already know. That is what we discussed in the broadcasting. So the matrix, finally we are getting the matrix Z is R by M. What is this R by M denoting? We will discuss. Now this Z is an R by M matrix. This M is denoting number of columns. So it is having M number of columns. How many rows? R number of rows. What are these R number of rows? I am representing here. This is Z1 and this is Z1, Z1, and if I write this, this is Z11, first training sample, and this is Z1 in square brackets and 2. This is the second training sample, and subscript 1. Similarly, subscript, if I am not changing the superscript, I am only changing the subscript. So this is the second activation unit Z2, third activation unit Z2. Similarly, rth activation unit Z. This is representing the first layer Z. This is also representing the first layer Z, but this is for the first training sample and this is for the second training sample. And this is the first layer Z for the first training sample, but this is representing the second activation unit Z. This is how we have vectorized the Z, capital Z also. Now when we apply the sigmoid function, we will get again the capital A also, the R by M matrix. Now we are using this capital A as input for the next layer. We are multiplying the W with the capital A. Then we will get in the final layer the activation units outputs. Same steps, but the difference we have used here, we have vectorized and we are representing them with the capital letters. Now you observe here, this Z superscript 1 representing first layer. All elements in this matrix are representing the first layer Z's only, but each column, in the first column it is representing the Z's of the first training sample, and second training sample, third training sample, like that. And similarly the A activation units, when we apply the sigmoid function to this Z, we will get the activation units. So now, in order to not to confuse you, we are taking the B as 0. We are neglecting the B because this is a biased feature. This is in our hands. We can take it as any value. I am taking now it as a 0. Okay, now the value of B is 0. Only we have the Z of the first training sample, second training sample, and third training samples. The values of the Z can be calculated by using the W and X. The B value is neglected. Now this X we are taking, it is representing the total features of all training samples. This W we have taken, it is representing the weights are the parameters that are controlling the activation units of the first layer. As we already discussed, the W matrix size depends upon the number of activation units and the number of features. Now when we multiply the W with the X, finally we are getting the Z. So we have discussed in this capital X, the number of columns that are representing the number of training samples, and the number of rows that are representing number of features. So I can say it as a n by m matrix. By using this n by m matrix, we are calculating the Z1. From this Z1, we are calculating the A1. From this A1, we are calculating the Z2. From this Z2, we are calculating the A2. This is how we have vectorized. In this vectorization, only we have changed the way of representing the X. Instead of representing only one training sample, we extended our representation for the M training samples. And finally, we have got the Z, which is in this matrix, we are having the Z values of all training samples for the first layer. By using this, we are calculating the activation units of the first layer, and this as an input for the finding the Z values of the second layer, and this as, by using this Z, we are calculating the activation units of the second layer.